Here we are today with Liam Wilson of Dillinger Escape Plan. I really appreciate you taking a minute
Yeah,
with us today.
anytime, for sure.
Awesome, awesome, man. Okay, so we're entering the fourth week of your current tour with Mastodon and Red Fang, which is a handful of dates left. So how has the tour been treating you this far?
It's been awesome. We've had a really good year. We don't always have as many support tours as we've had this year. We did Deftones and then Mastodon. Great guys to tour with. We know the Mastodon guys for a while. Bands we respect and like kind of feel akin to. So hopefully our audiences would too. The Red Fang guys, I think before we came on tour, seeing their videos and everything, we knew they would bring this kind of sense of humor that we already knew we had collectively. So, yeah, I mean, this tour's just been great synergy. Every band, seems to pull a different weight and like a different part out of the crowd, and
Right on.
I think it's a really well balanced,
Very cool.
fun tour.
Awesome, awesome. So, like, what is the criteria, like, when you guys look back on as far as, like, what you would consider a successful tour? Is it, like, reaching new fans, pleasing the old ones, or a combination?
Everything is like, there's the personal side of it where it's like, you kind of make these, whether they're, articulated, you have goals, and you're like, yeah, we want to get these kids, we want to tour, like, again, obviously, you tour with Deftones, you tour with Mastodon. It's like, these are bands I like, so hopefully our fans and their fans will feel the same way.
Right on.
We used to think about it like, if we could just get 10% of these people to give a shit, then that'd be rad. When we did things like System of a Down, we did their whole European tour when they did that Toxicity record.
Right.
And, there again, it's like not my favorite thing, but like, we knew that their fans would be, responsive, and it made a huge difference for us in Europe. It was like, we don't usually get those kind of tours here. This year's been, awesome. I hope it keeps rolling like that, because there's really, there's a short list of bands that I'd even want to support that I really think, would make sense. Obviously, there's the obvious bands,
Right.
but, I don't know. It'd be interesting to tour with some not so obvious bands. I'm just not exactly sure who those bands are yet.
Right on. All right. And is currently touring in support of your latest full-length, Option Paralysis, which you released via your own imprint, which is Party Smasher, and in conjunction with Season of Mist. What were some of the challenges that you guys faced putting out a record like on your own label as opposed to just signing your name on the dotted line?
Well, I guess to be sort of clear about it, we did sign our name to a certain amount of lines, but in that we asked that we'd be allowed to kind of start imprinting and branding ourselves as something. The music industry is changing so much between, let's say, Miss Machine and Ironworks, like so many, Tower and HMV and all these big box record stores just disappeared. And it seems like labels are even becoming dinosaurs. CDs are like, fossils at this point, and we just know that everything's changing so much. So with Season of Mist, we signed a one-record deal, and we're allowed to use the imprint because we know that from this point forward, it's gonna change a lot. But we wanted something that somebody can look at and be like, okay, it's always gonna have something to do with that.
That makes sense.
And we're still learning, and at this point, it's still in its infancy. We just kind of wanted to like put our foot in the door.
Right.
Because we just feel like it's somewhere down the line we're gonna be glad we did that.
Right on.
And if not, then
Right on. Was there anything unforeseen that kind of came up? How much responsibility did you guys take on as having a part, the actual label process?
I guess basically what we decided to do, or what we were figuring out through years with Relapse, is that they're a label. They have maybe 10 people working in the office, and then maybe 20 bands, 10 of which might be touring at any given time. That's spread really thin. And when we're a small band, that's not a big deal, but when we're already kind of bigger, or as big, when the label is like at capacity,
right,
and, we get kind of shrugged off because there's a lot of things that just fall through the cracks,
Right.
So we decided, I guess with more than ever with Option Paralysis, we just talked to Season of Mist, and we were like, look, if this is the amount of money that you're willing to give towards this project, then we need this much of it for marketing, and we need your people inside to help too. But we're going to hire our own team of people. We're going to hire a press agent, and yes, she's going to coordinate with your press agent, and all the way down the chain.
Right.
And in that sense, we've been self-managed more or less up to this point. And it's just like a lot of, us just kind of really staying on our toes.
Right on.
And we've learned a lot this time. We know where things worked. We know where you do need. We're not made of money, and sometimes you need money to invest in some of these ideas that we have. So there's a lot that goes into it, and I don't know if we're at the point yet where we don't need or want a label's help. But no matter what, I feel like we're still more hands-on than almost every other band I've ever seen.
That's very interesting. That kind of leads into what my next question was. So, a lot of it seems that like a lot of bands today, they kind of, even like leaders of the pack, like you guys, and I would say like Converge, are definitely like there, and like bands like Every Time I Die. It seems like there's a point where you hit that plateau where it seems like, you've reached like without like actually selling out and like actually like compromising like the musicianship.
Or something.
Yeah,
You're touching the ceiling.
so how do you move forward from this point? Because it seems like you guys pretty much dominate the underground scene. Like where do you see the next the transition phase like from here?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would love to get to that next level. I don't think that any of us are doing it to not get there to some extent, without compromising anything. It's like I still want to play this stuff, and if it's a natural trajectory, then I'm along for the ride. I have been for 10 years, and it's interesting when you get to a point where you realize that you're about as big as some of your favorite bands ever were.
Right.
And you're like, wow, it's a really weird position to be in, and you kind of lose sight of like how to get to that next level because so many bands didn't. They stopped here.
Right.
So I mean, it's really interesting, and again, like you said, it relates to the last question where nothing is static. Everything is constantly moving, and like I keep saying, the map is not the territory. You can talk about the music industry, but going to school for music doesn't mean you can write it. It's like you have to get in the grit. You have to be like on the ground and really understand like the war that's happening here because labels just don't get it. They don't understand that like when they book tours and all this stuff. I mean, we could monologue about this forever, but I don't know. I don't know how to get to that next level exactly.
Right.
And I think it's just kind of like a Venn diagram of things that you just kind of have to like, hope for the best. I think, and on this tour especially, like seeing where Mastodon is, seeing their trajectory, and seeing Deftones' trajectory, it's like it's educational. And you can talk to everybody on that tour. This dude's tech, this dude's tour manager, and whatever, and learn something really, fascinating and essential. I hope to get to that next level, or to see like how to function on that level.
Right.
Right now it's just a little bit of like fake it till you make it.
Right.
I mean, that's until I figure out a better strategy, that's the story I'm sticking to.
All right, very cool. So kind of switch gears here a little bit, kind of into I'm a gear nerd myself, so it's like to throw one in for the gear nerd. You testing out any new pieces of equipment on this tour?
I'm turning into a real, more of a gear nerd than I've ever been. I just got a Zahn Sonus bass, which is it's the first instrument that I feel like is teaching me something.
Right on.
It's really like, man, this thing is it's a beautiful piece. It has a composite neck with a Beno wood fretboard, which means it's wood with epoxy in it. So every time I pick this thing up, whether nothing makes this thing shift. It's just it just rings. It's awesome.
Awesome.
So I have that. Should I just spill my whole chain?
Yeah, that'd be great.
So I have that going into a Line 6 XT70 wireless pack.
Okay.
I just upgraded to that. I really think, at least compared to what I was using, that makes a difference. I dumped that into a Ready DI, which is another new thing I'm trying out. It's a all-tube DI, RED DI, made by A Designs.
Okay.
That just adds, I hate the word warmth to some degree, but
is it a cabinet simulator?
Unintended. No, it's just a preamp. It just adds some bottom, without being boomy. It just adds this thick, just enrichens the sound or something. I don't know the best way to say it. So I have that. That's my DIs in the front of the house.
Okay.
It's my first signal. Then that goes into, I got a hardwire polyphonic tuner by Digitech. I just picked that up on this tour.
Cool.
That thing saves me an exponential amount of time because you can step on it, tune one string at a time and it'll come up, or you can just strum and it'll tell you which string is added to.
Wow, that's very cool.
So, it shows you everything. So that's pretty when I have like 2 seconds between songs, or when something's really weird and I don't know who just hit me.
Right.
You know, I'm like, what the heck? Boom. Oh, okay. Back in the game. You know,
Right on.
it's super rad. That into a Morley volume wah, which I use for like just screams. You know,
Okay.
like just feedback screaming. You know, a la Cliff Burton or something.
Right on.
Into an Aguilar tone hammer, which is most of my like pick tone, and then into a mini Big Muff tone switch.
Oh,
Tone
right
switch always on. That's for the like the real kind of if it gets sludgy at all, it's for like just the sludgy like extra gain, you know, full gain fuzz.
Right.
Into a Sanzam that I just leave on the whole time, and that's just again for like another, you know, another couple knobs in the chain. Into a 73 SVT Classic.
Okay.
Into a 810.
Very cool.
Into a
Awesome.
venue. You know,
Very
so
cool.
and then I take a mic. I have a Heil mic. It's my second channel.
Awesome.
So 2 channels live.
Righteous. Very cool. Very cool. So you know, we're wrapping up 2011. We're heading into 2012. What's on the agenda for DEP?
A little bit of time off. I think we're all kind of. I think we're all itching to do more DEP stuff, write some more music. We're all kind of dabbling with side projects.
Okay.
And we have some pretty interesting international Pacific Rim touring. We have Australia, New Zealand in, I guess, at the end of February.
Okay.
And then we do, hopefully, Thailand and Singapore.
Okay.
That'll be the first time we've been to either of those places as a band.
Right on.
And I've been there as a tourist and love Thailand, so I'm really excited to go back there.
Awesome.
But the only thing I thought the whole time I was there is like, we should come here. Like, we could totally play here.
Right.
We got an offer for Kuala Lumpur. Hopefully we'll work that out in Malaysia. We're doing something in Jakarta, Indonesia, sometime in June. So we're doing some like weird things that we don't usually do.
Cool.
I would love to get to South America. We've still yet to really go there. I would love to break into like Croatia, places like that. You know, places that other bands or punk bands are, you know, are going out there to do. South America we've never been to. I keep itching to go there. I really would love to see Peru as a human.
Right on.
Whether I'm in a band or just a tourist. It's
Awesome.
yeah.
Are you at a place where you can talk about any of the side projects that you mentioned?
I could mention a little bit. I am working on. I'm not going to speak for anybody else's
Right on.
projects necessarily, but I'm working on something that's not very DEP at all. A little bit more poetic, a little bit more like Leonard Cohen or Nick Cave or Tom Waits or Swans or Secret Chiefs or Isaac Hayes or
Right on.
you know, Ennio Morricone, somewhere in this, you know, realm of, I don't know, almost theatrically poetic, you know, I don't know.
Cool.
But it's a real thing, and it's been something that I've been working on off and on for at least a year with another close friend of mine, and making plans to do some like okay, this week we're going out to the desert, we're just going to work on this and that's it, you know,
Right.
and you know, just to kind of really immerse ourselves in the idea. You know, it's really about vibe. It's about, you know, experiences he and I have had together, you know, in weird places, and just kind of that, you know, almost like David Lynch noir. You know, I don't know, just something that commands more of a feeling than just your ears.
Very cool.
You know?
Yeah,
So-
no, I know you pull influence from a lot of different areas. Like I know you're into Bikram
I love
and some other
yoga,
things
yeah.
like that.
Transcendental meditation is really changing my life for the last year or so.
Okay.
I've been vegan but not a whacktivist
Gotcha.
for a long time, and I feel like that, you know, in some ways it just makes me conscious of, you know, the whole chain.
Right on.
So-
Are there any like grassroots movements right now that you're really paying attention to, where you think more people should be?
I think everything that's going on in Appalachia with the mountaintop mining and valley filling, I've always hated that. I hate overfishing. I hate whaling. I think whaling is arguably the worst possible thing, you know, I've ever seen, except maybe seal hunting. I think I don't know. Canada should get their act together with the Indians.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could ramble about everything.
Yeah, no, I got you.
But no, I think those are very important things. I think people should read more books and less blogs.
Right on. Very cool. Cool. All right. Well, thank you
Yeah.
very much for taking a few minutes and Blow the Sea
Yeah, no
Burritos,
problem.
man. Really cool, man.
Yeah.
And we look forward to keeping up with your future endeavors.